What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fuzzy Fitness. So let's start this video with the physique update of the 2023 Miss Olympia champion, Derek Lunsford. So this was taken at 2 weeks out of this year's Arnold Classic. And again I have got to say, if you have been underestimating Derek throughout this prep, then this probably will wake you up. Because just take a look at those freaky quads and no wonder why Derek has been feeling so confident that he has got a great shot at winning this whole damn thing in less than 10 days time now, because as he has been posing on a daily basis for his coach Chris Aceto, and they're making all the necessary adjustments, and also the physique that Derek is aiming to bring at this upcoming Arnold stage that might be totally different from what we saw back at the Olympia in October last year. Now the man kept on saying that he did not need to grow muscles on his quads, he just overdieted and he could not fill back up during that peak week, during that carbs loading phase, and his quads being one of his weakest areas that took the biggest hit. But you learn from your mistakes and you keep moving forward. Now we can have a mutual consensus on one thing, that Derek hasn't even been close to 100% even during that 1 year when he won the Olympia. So his best is yet to be seen on the stage. And who knows, him growing into this upcoming Arnold, him not trying to chase that extra 5% condition and trying to look a bit fuller and trying to hold on to all that volume on his legs, that might turn out to be the best possible combination of conditioning and overall fullness for Derek. I mean, just take a look at Derek's overall X-frame from the year 2022, the year he shocked the entire bodybuilding world at his men's Open Olympia debut. Now if Derek shows up with better quads, those proportions on him, they are gonna be even more pronounced. And this could lead to a killer look, even for a guy like Samson Dauda at this year's Arnold. So time for Chris Aceto to work his magic and land this plane. Now one thing is for sure, Derek's legs are looking big and full at 2 weeks out. And if they can somehow hold on to that size all the way till the showtime, it is gonna be a super close fight, closer than what people are expecting for this year's Arnold title. Guys, Mr. Olympia Signature Series is now live on Hostile.com. Use the code FAZZY10 to get 10% discount and click the arrow below to check out all the Hostile products. The super hard heavy training for years and years, trying to be the best in the world, that comes at a cost. And this is Chris Bumstead's most recent story, which was posted on his IG, revealing that he had not one, but 3 major tears in his shoulder. And this has been bothering Chris for a while now.
Some bad news sadly recently. I was finally getting out of my prehab training phase, trying to recover from a bunch of nagging issues and injuries from bodybuilding and get back into training hard again. And then my shoulder was bugging me, it just wasn't get better. So I went to Mexico, get some stem cells, see Dr. Khan, and they did some imaging on my shoulder and found out I have a pretty serious tear, 3 serious tears on my supraspinatus, subscapularis, and my labrum. So my shoulder's pretty. And then so we did a procedure on it, which I will get more into depth with. I'll get more into depth with everything that's going on, but right now I can't lift my shoulder at all. I can flex my elbow, but I can't move my shoulder 0%. If I go over a bump in the car, it jolts his pain through me.
And this is the final nail in that comeback coffin, that there is zero chance of Chris Bumstead ever returning to the bodybuilding stage and doing another show. Because if we look at the final phase of his career, he was having so many injuries almost every year. He had a lat tear, a bicep injury, and a shoulder injury that was really restricting his training and the movements. And although his team around him said, and even Chris Bumstead himself said, that he wants everyone to remember the year 2024 as the year when Chris Bumstead brought his all-time best to Mr. Olympia stage. But that just wasn't the case. He wasn't able to beat his Olympia 2022 look. In fact, I believe this past Miss Olympia, that was the closest CBum ever got to losing that Olympia title since 2020. So it is gonna be a while till Chris Bumstead makes his way back into the gym, because his movements for now, they are totally restricted. Now as much as the fans wanna see Chris Bumstead take a proper off-season and do an open show, the chances of that happening, they are almost zero at this point. Now we wish Chris Bumstead a very speedy recovery. Next up we have the physique update from the former 2-times Arnold champion and a former Miss Olympia, Brandon Curry, who appeared on Miss Olympia TV live today, and he talked about how different this prep has been compared to the ones he did in Kuwait. And he actually also made a major announcement here that there is a chance Brandon is gonna compete at this year's Masters Olympia. And that is such a great decision because there is only so much Brandon can do at this point. He can only compete so much from this point onwards.
So, could we see you on a Pittsburgh stage or New York or any other show throughout the year?
One of the things I did consider, if I get top 5 here at the Arnold, I was talking to Chris about maybe doing a Masters Olympia for sure. That's right up before the Olympia. That's a good show to kind of set that off.
Now is obviously the most experienced IFB pro in this year's Arnold lineup. And let's be realistic here. The chances of Brandon Curry cracking top 3 in this kind of lineup, they are almost non-existent. And he himself said, a top 5 finish here, that would be awesome. So Brandon knows, either 4th or 5th here, that is gonna be a huge win for him, considering his age. He does, however, wants to bring a more ripped and a more detailed version of his physique to this upcoming Arnold stage. Something we have never seen from him before. But the thing is, that also puts him at a risk of losing some size on his quads. And that is gonna be detrimental, because Brandon never had great quads to begin with, especially in comparison to his upper body. So Samson and Brandon, they are kind of similar physiques, but Samson has way better quads, and is way bigger than Brandon. So excited to see what the final package of Brandon is gonna be for this upcoming Arnold. And this could very well be his last Arnold ever. Guys, Gorilla Wear is offering a massive discount of up to 70% right now. Use the code FEZZY10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have an 11.5 weeks out physique update from Martin Fitzwater. So the road to chasing top 3 at this year's Miss Olympia, that starts in May this year at this year's Pittsburgh Pro. And the first step towards that goal, that is beating the mutant Nick Fogger and showing the bodybuilding world that Martin is here to stay. So over 11 weeks out, and this much muscularity and that much lean condition, I guess all the competitors who are doing the Pittsburgh Pro, including Nick, they should be worried. Because Nick, on the other hand, he's playing a totally different game. He's just shy of 300 pounds at that same point in time. And the fact is, if he doesn't fix his waistline, he won't be able to take down a guy like Martin. And if he cannot control his midsection, Martin is gonna expose him big time. So can you believe that from what we are projecting, there is gonna be roughly 20 to 30 pounds of difference in stage weight between both these guys in Pittsburgh, as Martin is gonna be probably in the high 230s. And Nick's plan, that is to be in the high 260s. But at the end of the day, we know that the weight doesn't matter a lot. So Martin has already established himself as one of the best in the world. His conditioning at the Olympia last year was absolutely impeccable. And with another few pounds on his frame, with that same condition, we for surely are gonna see a battle between him and Nick Walker. And I think it is gonna be a close one. So the most rated guy in the entire classic physique division, or maybe in the entire pro league, Michael De Bull, checking in at 10 days out of this year's Arnold in his trademark condition, which is just so untouchable. So this is him, flat, totally depleted, body getting beaten up from all the hard workouts, being on very low carbs, very low on food. So just wait and see how his body comes back to life as he goes through that peak week and that carbs loading protocol. So any show where there is Michael De Bull competing, all the other competitors better not miss on conditioning, even just a bit, because if you do, he's gonna make you look like you're 6 weeks out. Now there was a time, I guess in 2022, when Michael competed against the likes of Wesley at the Arnold UK, and although Wesley was in a superb shape, but Michael was just so ripped and so peeled that he was able to not only expose Wesley, but also beat him at that show. And this is probably the very first time we are seeing so many competitors, including Michael, feeling so confident that he can be the last man standing at the Arnold stage this year. So Michael working with a different coach in the past 2 years and still getting ripped and as peeled as he used to be in the past. That is a proof that this man isn't totally dependent on one coach to get him in that top level shape. The former 2 times Miss Olympia Big Ram is spotted today, and we are now weeks past those rumors of him returning to the stage and doing the Olympia with literally zero response from either him or his team. So maybe it was just a Kai Green type of stunt played by his sponsors to get everyone in the industry to talk about Big Ramy. Now, even if Big Ramy comes back with his triceps issue fixed, with his back improved, which we do not even know if that's possible, especially at this stage of his career, as Big Ramy is gonna be 41 next year, well, they aren't gonna consider him for that Miss Olympia title. The balance is now off, because the waist has grown a lot over the years, and you don't have to do much other than looking at the pictures of Big Ramy either from 2013, which was the year when he made his Olympia debut, or 2014. That was his sweet spot, but his quads were big, but not overly big, and he also had such a nice flow. And now that the aesthetics are being considered one of the most important thing in the judging criteria, Ramy, if he decides to make a comeback, he's gonna have a really hard time. Now, if size was the main criteria, then Big Ramy at his last show, which was the Arnold 2023, he should have probably won that show, because Ramy destroyed all the other 3 competitors in terms of size. But the criteria we all know has changed a lot. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.